Hello. Shall we do is it time for another Q&A? Okay. Okay, Q&A from Instagram into YouTube because there's so many all the time. So, question number 1. Have you experienced enormous nut butter cravings during or after recovery? Yeah. I don't think I ever not have nut butter cravings. No, I'm joking. I am a big nut butter lover. My favourite is pip nut. I've actually got a Planet Organic one at the moment. What else do I like? Is it Manny Life? I like that one too. Anyway, yeah, big cravings. When I was actually going through recovery, I was eating a kilogram tub every sort of like week and a half to 2 weeks. Which is actually quite a lot of nut butter when you think about it. But for me, if it's like big cravings, to me that sounds as if you're probably not eating enough throughout the day, and it's your body sort of like craving fats and more calories. So if you're finding that it's making you uncomfortable, or you know you'd rather be eating other foods, you could try to increase your meal times and increase your meal sizes and eating more regularly, rather than just sort of like diving for a spoonful of nut butter every couple of hours. Maybe look at like the rest of your food. But if you are just generally just loving it, then own it. Yeah, I absolutely love nut butter and I ate a shit ton of it when I was in recovery too. Next question, underweight tips on how to keep going. It's so hard. Okay, I think here you really need to get clear on what do you want and why do you want it. So for me, what I wanted was, I've got this thing, right? I don't ever want to be average. Average is really shit. But at the time of recovery, I really just wanted to be normal. I wanted to train the way my friends trained. I wanted to feel confident in myself. I wanted to be able to eat what I wanted. Like, I just didn't want to be that person anymore. I didn't want to be the obsessive one. And then the more I learned about like the dangers of having a menstrual cycle, being a mum in the future is really, really important to me. I used to laugh and joke and say that I never wanted kids. And until I lost my period, it made me really realise like how much I genuinely feel like I'm destined to be a mum. I fully picture it like running with the buggy, like breastfeed, like the full shebang. I'm there. I'm so ready. No, I'm not so ready. Take that back. I'm not so ready, but I will be one day. So when my period didn't come back after coming off the pill, it shook me up and I was like, okay, what do I really want? I actually want it all. Like, I want to be my best self. I want to be healthy. I want to have my own business. There were so many things that I really wanted, and I was like, I wanted to live my best life. And what was the one thing that I didn't have that was holding me back? Well, that was my health. And that was the one thing that I actually could really nail, right? Like, we are in control of our life and how we treat ourselves. And I was like, okay, if I'm not treating my body right, then I can't expect sort of like me to be able to achieve anything else that I want to achieve, or have the relationships that I really want to have if the relationship with myself isn't right. So my big what I wanted was to get my period back, and my why was because of the bigger picture, was because I like looked at it and I was like, well, if I'm not even looking after myself, how can I expect, if I'm not loving myself, how can I expect other people to love me, or to me be able to love other people, right? My self-worth was really, really low. So I wanted my period back because I felt as if my health was my biggest wealth, in a way, as cringe as that sounds, and I really wanted that back. So I would really encourage you to look at what you want. If you're saying that you're underweight, it is what you want to be a healthy weight, and then look at why do you want that. Really dig deep into like, what is your why? Like, why really do you want that? And I think the why is the thing that's going to keep going. I also really want to say, like, it does get better. Yeah, there are really, 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 really shit times in recovery. Yes, gaining weight can be really difficult, especially in a society that tells us that we shouldn't be, and that we should be on every diet, and that you should look like her. But it does get better, and it will get better. And right now we will have these moments where, like, you know, you're up and down all the time, and that's absolutely okay. And just sort of like meeting yourself where you're at and saying like, okay, today I'm really struggling, but just because I'm having one bad day, it doesn't make a bad life, and it doesn't mean that I then should restrict. And sort of looking at sort of like, when you are having a bad day, has something triggered you? Or like, if you're struggling to keep going, what else has happened around you that maybe has sort of discouraged you? I have also started reading the book thanks to a recommendation called The Compound Effect, and that is basically says something about like, oh, I should really go get it, but it's going to take me ages to go get it. Something like, someone gives you £3 million and offers you £3 million or like 30p a day. I think I'm really not doing this justice. Which one would you take? And basically the idea is, if you take the 30p a day or whatever, you'd end up with like a shit ton more money than you would if you just took the 3 million or something. I don't know. Basically, the idea is that it's slow and steady, and if you keep going and you keep going, you're gonna accumulate so much more wealth or health or whatever you want to achieve than just sort of like getting instant results. And I see this all the time in sort of like when people go like full pelt all in, they rush into all in and then they rush back out, because I'm a big believer in just sort of like making baby steps and doing the best you can each and every day, and remembering that if you have a bad day or you fall back into some habits, that's okay, there's always tomorrow. I actually found as well in recovery is I gave myself full permission to restrict if I really wanted to, but also at the same time I set the intention to be the best me every single day. So that's really hard to restrict if you know that every single day you're waking up with that intention. So for example, if I was and ahhing about whether I should have a dessert or whether I should have a slightly bigger meal or whatever when I was trying to gain weight and get my period back, I would literally say, right, eat this today because I can restrict tomorrow if I want to. And then tomorrow I woke up and as part of my morning routine I was journaling, and my journal was be the best I can, and like my affirmation was I'm happy, healthy and full of energy. And if I'm living that I'm happy, healthy and full of energy, and I'm living sort of like as the best me would, she wouldn't restrict. So even though I gave myself permission to do that the next day, the night before, as soon as I wake up and journal again and set my intention for the day, I'm definitely not gonna restrict, am I? Because that won't be aligning with my intention. Meditation to help keep you going, journaling, seek support, don't go through it alone, and just please, I promise you that it does get better, and life gets so much better when you're not restricting. I hope that helps. Okay, I'm trying to read them all because up my calories and now I'm a bottomless pit. Is this normal? It's really common that once we've gone through a period of restriction or like quite an extensive amount of restriction, when we go up to sort of like maintenance / we start eating more, we feel as if we're constantly eating, and actually we're not, we're just eating normal food. But also it's really common for our like metabolism to actually ramp up. I really found in recovery, as soon as I gave myself full permission, I was just constantly needing to eat. And I don't quite know the science behind it, but I feel like it makes sense that if I've restricted myself for so long and then suddenly I'm like, okay, now I'm eating more, my stomach's, like my body is literally like, fucking hell, like quick, keep going just in case she restricts again. But maybe someone can help us out with the science on that. Can you recover and still focus on protein and strength training? Good question. I guess technically, yeah. If you're eating enough, you've reduced your intensity, reduced your weights. Basically, the idea of recovery is we're taking our bodies out of stress, right? So if you've got HA, you're already in a state of stress. If you drop your weights and drop your frequency of strength training, you also increase your carbohydrates, your protein, and your overall calories. You prioritize rest and recovery, and you're sort of doing a bit of inner work. Technically, I guess yes. But realistically, I feel like what you're asking isn't really along those lines. I can't help but feel like if you're asking that question, it means that really you want to sort of carry on as usual, but like carry on, maybe you're doing HIIT or something like that, but realistically you want to stay in the gym. You don't really want to gain any weight potentially, and you sort of want to carry on as you are. I would really say to recover, I would look at your reasons why you want to focus on protein and strength training. I'm a big fan of training. I absolutely love it. And I continue to exercise throughout my recovery, but when I say like exercise, like when you look at compared to what I was doing, which was like 6 to 7 strength HIIT sessions a week, and sort of like really high protein diet beforehand, compared to what I was doing when I was in recovery, like it was complete polar opposites. I was doing sort of like maybe one outdoor PT session a week with my friend because we were in lockdown, like just coming out of lockdown. And then I was really walking, and then I was doing yoga. And then my food wise, I didn't focus on protein at all. I focused a lot on increasing the calories, carbohydrates and fats. And then I focused a hella load on rest and recovery. So when you ask the question, focus on protein and strength training, I'd say probably not ideal. Probably what I'd focus on is like carbohydrates and rest and recovery, and then sort of have like protein and like strength training to sort of, to like the side, if you like. But there are plenty of people that continue to like train quite hard and sort of like, you know, reverse diet and like increase their calories through training. I would just ask yourself like why you're doing that. Is that because actually you don't really want to change, or is that because, you know, your mindset is that you are scared to gain weight and you're scared to let go of that part of yourself? I just want you to know that like in recovery isn't forever. I am now training so much more than what I used to, and I have my cycle, and I have to be really careful, but like the food wise, I still have to do a huge focus around carbohydrates and not really that much of a focus around protein, because that's what my body needs. The female body needs carbs and fats just as much as it does protein. If anything, I would say like protein, yeah, we need protein, but that doesn't need to be a focus in recovery. I would actually look at like healing your relationship with food, prioritizing such a balance of macronutrients and also good healthy carbs, because that's helps hormone production, but also like rest and recovery, and then really reducing your strength training in terms of like intensity and weights, and opting for more like restorative stuff. I think you'd probably benefit from that a lot more than if you were focused on protein and strength training. Next, how to build self-confidence. Should I do that as a separate video? That could probably, tips to make your mind body feel safe to have a period. Guys, this has got to be another video, I think. I'll do one more then, and then the others I'll put in like an actual video. But how to know you're under fueling besides no period. Christ, let me get the list. So low libido, up and down moods, dry skin, brittle nails, dry hair, poor sleep, waking up in the night, needing to go for a wee in the night, jumping out of bed and feeling like really jacked, feeling exhausted like constantly, DOMS, really bad DOMS, like taking ages to recover from a workout, poor digestion, no period, obviously. I know you said other than no period. Reliant on caffeine and sort of energy drinks. I would also say like if you've got any sort of restriction around food, and if you're not honouring your hunger signals, if you're not sort of like, if you're constantly thinking about food, if you're wanting to watch 10,000 calorie challenges on YouTube because you can't stop thinking about food, if after you've eaten your meal you're then thinking about the next food, these are probably all signs that you are naturally under fueling. I think we really underestimate that we have psychological hunger cues as well as physical cues. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. I'm trying to think, I'm sure there's anything else. If anyone has anything else, then drop it in the comments, because I've got pins and needles in my feet, and my brain's a little bit fried, so you lot can do the work for me now. Bye!